it's literally just put your faith in him, and he's going to draw you closer, and you're going to create relationship with him. So it's just on the daily, you're just having conversations with him. You're just reading his word, and you're drawing closer to him, like he's like the close friend that he is and the father that he is. So that's what we want to show people by saying that God is a community of love, is letting people know that it's actually a relational thing. It's not, like when Jesus came down, he said, I haven't come to be a servant, but I've come to serve.
Yeah.
And so that's what we want to show, is that this isn't about, okay, what can we do for God, but how can we as a group serve each other and love on one another? And if there's anything that's deviating from his word or his love and his truth, you're really not creating community, you're creating division. So that's what we're wanting to try to do with WeOverMe.
Well said. I want to switch gears a bit to your newest release, Feel the Same. What kind of direction did you take with that song? What kind of feels did you try to emanate? And what was your process like when you were making that?
All right, so that was a collaboration song that I'm actually doing with a good buddy of mine, Cameron Nelson, who's an artist as well. And that was a song we probably wrote that 2 years ago. And it's been kind of in the works for a long, long time.
Oh, wow.
And we just got around to getting it recorded now. But it was a song that the Minnesota State Fair, I'm not sure if you know about it, but it's like the biggest like state fair like in the country. And they have this amateur talent show that they put on. So you get to be up like on the big stage and stuff if you pass through the auditions and whatnot. So this was actually a song we wrote for that competition. And it's a very just feel good, happy song, summer vibes. Like that's all I can say about it. What we wanted to do is take the perspective of like a young love or a young crush, like we all have that story, and we just wanted to like make it into a song, just this innocent, childlike vibe that just, I don't know, maybe puts you like in your feels and like just brings back memories and stuff.
So this is coming out, right? I'm not sure if I said this was already out, but I don't think this is
sure.
released yet.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So this is actually being released on the 31st. So 2 weeks from now on Friday,
okay,
it's going to be released. So it's coming up pretty soon.
And where can people find that?
You can find it everywhere, anywhere that you listen to music.
Available
Spotify,
everywhere.
Available.
That's what you see everyone saying now. Available everywhere.
It's just so easy to get it everywhere now.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be a real fun song. I think everybody that we've showed it to are given some sneak peeks. The one thing that people say is like, wow, this is going to be a hit, or like all I could do is smile. So that's what we were going for. And that's what we hope people find when they listen to it, is that it just makes them smile and brings back some memories.
That's definitely some positive feedback. The song that you have out now is Easy to Love.
Mm-hmm. What
is that about?
So that was actually my third single that I put out, and it was a song that I wrote for my fiance. So it's a very personal love song.
Of course.
And I wrote it when we were dating, for her birthday. And we were probably only dating for like 4 months, but we got one of those fast love stories where it kind of you just know,
kind of worked out,
and it just takes off right away. And so we were probably dating for like 3-4 months or so by that point. And
she must have went nuts when she heard that.
Yeah, she liked it a lot.
Must have loved that. Yeah.
She's a painter, and she did a painting and like put some of the lyrics and stuff on it. So she's a fan of the song. So yeah, my process to writing that song is, and this is what every artist honestly does if they're good, is they just take their feelings and their emotions and their experiences with something, and they put it into poetic. This is what I do anyways. I put it into poetic words that try to capture those feelings or those emotions. So you don't necessarily it doesn't have to be a word for word retelling of what's happening, but you're just trying to express in a way that normal words couldn't, how you feel about somebody. And the one thing that I first said to Jasmine, when it started getting more serious is I was just like, man, it's really easy to love you. Like, it's not difficult. This isn't a difficult relationship. It just flows and everything seems to go well. I kind of took that line of like, it's just easy to love this girl, and I want to turn that into a song, and it just blossomed. I think I wrote it in like 2 hours, and when you have good material, it's easy to write about. So.
It's easy to love, and it was easy to write it too.
Absolutely.
So anyone that's interested in a good love song, make sure to go check that out. Real briefly, I just want to touch a little bit on how you play at some cafes, because what I want artists to take away from this podcast a lot of times is how they can get out there and start playing and kind of
right.
Learn how to play it in front of an audience and how to get their foot in the door, really. So how did you approach that? How did you get those opportunities, and what have you learned from playing at cafes so far?
Sure. First thing I would say is start with open mics, which is fitting for this podcast. Honestly, open mics was everything. That's where everything started for me. I would go to, we have this cafe called Underground Music Cafe, and every week they'd hold an open mic there. So that's where I first took it, and it's just going to give you exposure. And if you're talented enough and you got enough passion, people are going to notice that. Honestly, people are the central key to all careers and all business. So if you're a good people's person and your music connects to somebody, you'll be surprised how many people like know other people. So most of my gigs are actually built off of my relationships with other people, and I've affected them in some way with my music. And then they're like, hey, I know this guy, he does this music, he's really good, and it goes from there. So make sure that people probably hear this a lot, but make sure you're networking, not just in like oh, here's my number, here's my business card type of way, but you're actually building relationships with them. I think the best advice I ever received was from Ron Spalding. He was the CEO of Universal Studios, and I had the opportunity to meet him when I was on tour last year with the artist True Serva. And he told me that the most important thing for you to do is to build relationships with people. Like, the only reason that I'm successful is because I've built relationships with people on a personal level, and they're not just business relationships. Because when someone has work for somebody to do, they're not going to call like this person that they just briefly met, that gave them a business card. They're going to call the person that's given time and energy into actually investing into the relationship. And so it's more than just, what can you give me? It's like, what can I offer you as a friend? And I think it's also the way that we're going to heal like a very broken, I would say a very broken industry that we live in as artists, is people are always trying to take advantage of each other. So that's my vision, is to just build all relationships lead to all business. And when it becomes more of a, let's just do this together and let's have some fun with each other, versus like, this is a business deal, like how much money can you make me? Yeah, so that's kind of a long-winded answer, I guess. But there's open mics everywhere. You can find those everywhere, and just start connecting with people, start talking to people. Everyone's that's going to be involved there is probably going to know somebody that could get you a gig somewhere. So that's what I have to say about that. That's
very solid advice. I recommend to anyone listening to this podcast to follow that advice. It's very sound. Well, Joel, I appreciate your time today, man. If you're not following Joel yet, go follow him. Joel at Joel Robertson Music, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm not sure if you have those last two, but I know you're on Instagram. So
yep, I'm at both of those places. So
all right, so go follow him. He's everywhere on social media at Joel Robertson Music.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate your time. Thank you. And that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. If you are an artist and would like to have a chance to be on the Open Mic App podcast, all you simply have to do is go to www.theopenmicapp.com/podcast. Again, if you weren't listening, that's www.theopenmicapp.com/podcast. I hope to see you there. Peace.